Hey guys. So obviously it is a very purple day today. I have purple eyeshadow on, purple lipstick, and a purple shirt. Too much? I don't care. Wear what you want to wear. There are no rules with makeup or anything about life, really. Today I'm going to be talking about what I've been watching and what I've been reading. I saw a movie on Netflix this past weekend that I enjoyed it so much. And after I finished watching it, I looked at my husband and I said, I wonder if this is based on a novel. I need to do that more often because this is a great way to discover books to read. So I looked it up, and sure enough, not only was it based on a novel, it was based on a 12 book series. 12 books in the series. So I looked it up in my library network and I took out the first book. Um, Actually, I had to put in a request for the first book because they didn't have it at the library that I go to. But I don't know if they do this in every library network all across the country or not. But in the network that I'm in, if they don't have the book that you want at your library, they transfer it from another library within the network that's in your region, which is great because I'm so into reading right now and just flying through the books so quickly. I could never afford to buy all these books, and not to mention find them, because most of the time when I go shopping for books, I can never seem to find the ones that I'm interested in or want. It's always has to be special ordered, and I'm not somebody that orders a lot of stuff online. I do occasionally, but I'm not somebody that likes to order a lot of things online. So I got the first book from the library, loved it, got the second book, read that, and then the third one is being transferred right now to the library that I go to. So I'll be hopefully picking that up soon. But I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna do a video about this because a lot of people watch Netflix and a lot of people like to read books, although not as many as I wish. I wish more people were into reading, but it seems to be a dying thing. And it's so much better, I think, than watching movies or television because you're using your imagination. You are seeing these characters the way you envision them in your mind, and you can even like identify with the main character and sort of experience what they're experiencing via the book. I don't know. I do that a lot of times when I read books. I'll just pick a character and I'll sort of feel what they're feeling, if that makes sense. But yeah, so what am I talking about? I haven't even said yet what it is. Okay, so the movie that's on Netflix, it's called Cirque du Freak, The Vampire's Assistant. Of course, I'll leave the name of the movie um, in the description box. And then the book series is called The Saga of Darren, Shan, and it's broken down into sections. Like the first three books in the series are called the Vampire Blood Trilogy, and then the first book was Cirque du Freak, the second book was The Vampire's Assistant, the third book is Tunnels of Blood. So I had read somewhere that the movie was based on this trilogy. No, the movie is based on the first two books, really, because I've already finished the second book, and there was loads of stuff towards the end of the second book that was not in the movie. So I would say maybe the first book and a half is what they did when they adapted these novels for adapted the screenplay based from the novels. So, anyways, the movie's plot line focuses on the main character, which is Darren, played by Chris Mazzaglia. Oh boy, I'm probably butchering that name. Mazzaglia. Mazzoglia? Chris Mazzoglia. Yeah, let's go with that. So the main character's name is Darren, and he's a high school student. And he and his friend Steve, his best friend Steve, they find out about this freak show. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to tell you anything that's going to ruin the movie for you. I'm just like trying to give you enough to get you interested because I love this movie. They find out about this freak show. And of course, freak shows probably aren't even legal anymore, I don't think. But it's something that they used to do many years ago where people that had deformities of some type or disabilities would end up in a freak show and people would pay money to see them. And so this is a traveling freak show that travels around the country, and people go and they pay money, and they sell things there like, what do you call it? Like memorabilia of being there and so forth. So Darren and Steve find out about this freak show, and they go. And they don't really allow children in there, but they kind of sneak in, or, well, they don't sneak in because they have tickets, but they are allowed in for whatever reason. And so during the course of the show, Steve, Darren's best friend, realizes that one of the freaks he's seen this guy before. Steve reads a lot of books about vampires and supernatural creatures, we'll call them. And he recognizes one of these guys from one of his books. The character's name is Crepsley. I hope I'm saying that right. Played brilliantly by John C. Reilly. If you don't know who John C. Reilly is, look him up because he's a very talented actor. I've seen him do all different kinds of roles, and wow, was that guy talented. You've probably seen him before, but you just don't recognize the name. He's one of those character actors that, you know, you may not realize who he is, but you've definitely seen him because he's done a lot. And yeah, he's very, very talented. So anyways, Steve recognizes Crepsley from one of his books, and he knows that he's a vampire. And I'm not going to tell you any more about the story because I want you to let it unfold for you, but I've hopefully told you just enough to get you interested. But this is a great movie that is on Netflix right now. If you don't happen to have Netflix, you can probably... I don't know, if you're one of those, if you are someone who buys things on iTunes or whatever, you can definitely get it on iTunes, or if you do the like instant Amazon thing, or however you watch movies, okay? It's a great, great movie, and if you're into things like horror, the horror genre, then you really need to see this. It is so good. So I've started reading the books, like I said, and the very first book, Cirque du Freak, the author's name is Darren Shan. This series is the Darren Shan, let's get it right, the Saga of Darren Shan. So he put the name of the series is his name, the author's name, but it's a pen name because that isn't his real name. I guess he changed it like a lot of famous people do. But I had never heard of this author, and apparently he's Irish. Apparently he sold millions and millions of books, and this is the first I've heard of him. So anyways, I read the first one, Cirque du Freak, and it was the first like 3/4 of the movie. And then I read the second book, which is The Vampire's Assistant. And then, like I said, the third one, I should be able to pick that up soon. It's like in transit. And I'm hooked. I'm definitely going to read all 12 books in the series now, and I've already checked, and within the library network, all 12 books exist. Thank goodness. Because I don't even know if these books are still in print. Not that they're like that old. My hair is really bothering me today because it's partly wet, partly dry. Let's find out when these books were written. Okay, so it looks like it started in 2000 and then goes from there. Probably released one book a year if he had written them ahead of time. But that's probably why I'm not aware of this author, because most of the horror type authors that I'm aware of that I've read are from a long time ago. Getting back into this genre again, I used to be a huge Stephen King, Anne Rice type fan where I read all their books and read tons of standalone novels from a lot of different authors. I can remember when I was younger, I used to go to this used bookstore and I would go right for that section of the store and just buy like 3 or 4 books, bring them home, read them, bring them back, get a credit, and then get more books, put a little bit more money with that with my credit and get more books. And eventually I just almost read that whole section. I love to read. But I had kind of gotten away from the horror type books, and I think that rereading the Harry Potter books is what has brought me back to this. I mean, most people wouldn't consider Harry Potter horror, but come on, in the Harry Potter books, there are werewolves, there are creatures of all different kinds, so, you know, it's like a horror / fantasy type situation. So I had kind of gotten away from those types of things, and now I'm back into it again, and this same author, Darren Shan, he has other series. So when I finish this series, he has a zombie series, he has a demon series, he has lots and lots of books. So I may need to take a breather from that in between though, because I found a place yesterday that I didn't really realize that they had such a great book section. Let me go grab the 2 books that I bought so I can show them to you and tell you where this place was. Okay, so what I'm talking about is Savers, the thrift store chain. My mother had said something about the book section in there, and I was like, oh, do they have very many books in there? I said, are they all romance novels? No offense to anyone that likes romance novels, but that's my least favorite genre. I can't stand those kind of books. Not that I'm not somebody that doesn't love or whatever. I don't know. There's just something about those books I just don't like them. But anyways, probably shouldn't have said that. I hope I didn't offend anyone. But anyways, so my mother had mentioned something about the book section at Savers, and I was like, do they really have, you know, is it worth going in there? She said, oh yeah. She goes, let's go after we have lunch, because I always go out with my mom for lunch like once a week. So we went up there, and I walked in there, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. They have so many books to pick from. And of course, it's all used, secondhand, donated stuff. So the prices are very good. So I went through all the shelves as much as I could, because there were probably, how many books? I don't know, 500 books I would say that they had in there. So I went through quickly, just kind of scanning. And what did I find? I found book 4 in this Cirque de Freak, the Saga of Darren Shan series. So I'm getting 3 transferred to my local library, but after I read that one, I already have book 4. And of course, I got it for like maybe half the price. I think it was $3 and change, and it was originally $6 and change. The other book that I saw there is a book that I've always intended to read that was very popular, But I don't know, just never got around to it. And if any of you have ever read this book, let me know if you really liked it, because this was so popular there for a while. It's a New York Times best-selling novel. I got the hardcover of this for $3, and it was originally $18, so that was a steal. And what I'm talking about is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I've always meant to read this, so I'm going to have to squeeze this in between series by Darren, Shan, or whatever. But yeah, this sounds really good when I read like the synopsis on the inside cover. And I've done that at like Barnes and Noble and actual bookstores and stuff like that multiple times, and for whatever reason didn't get it, but now I got it for $3. So if you guys are into reading, which you probably are if you're watching this video, right? Let me know down in the comment section if you like any of the kind of stuff that I do. Maybe what are some of your favorite authors or books that you've read. I want to get to know you guys a little bit better, and would love to see what you're into. And I'm so sorry if I offended anyone that likes romance novels. I shouldn't have said that, but I'm not going to edit it out because I want to keep it real, and I mean, it's how I feel. So I don't want to like edit that out and try to hide the fact that I don't like romance novels, but I don't want to offend anyone either. So if you like this video talking about movies and books and so on and so forth, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. It's free, you know. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Have a great weekend.